We are stepping into the time of year, and after a few conversations with some fellow breeders, I know that it's really important to talk about egg color in our hens right now and the fluctuation of egg color throughout seasons and definitely throughout their life cycle in general. And you know that I like to put us all on the same level, regardless of where we're at in our chicken keeping experience, regardless of how much information we have. But this is one of those areas that can really separate the new chicken keeper from somebody who's been keeping chickens for several years. This is one of those areas that really separates the chicken keeper who looks at pictures of eggs on Instagram all the time versus people who are dealing with these eggs hands-on every day for a couple years. I am not picking on y'all. I just want everybody to have realistic expectations when it comes to egg colors from our hens. If you are somebody who is primarily concerned about egg color in your flocks, when you're buying hatching eggs or chicks, it would be a really good idea to ask for pictures of the egg color that you're hatching from or egg color from those parent stock in several different lighting types, because we all know that the best lighting, the way the eggs look the best in pictures is when we take photos in evening lights and on like overcast days. There's something about that lighting that makes eggs look so beautiful, but the most accurate lighting theoretically is daylight, full sun. But the color eggs that the parent stock came from, the color eggs that parent stock produces, does not guarantee the stock of the offspring. It gives like a better idea of the genetics that are passing forward, but there's no guarantees. More importantly than that, and my purpose for making this video is to tell you that a hen's egg color will fluctuate daily and definitely throughout the season and definitely throughout her laying cycle. And that is like biological, scientific, under no control of the breeder. I know I've made videos before about egg color in general, about green eggs, blue eggs, brown eggs, why we have different colored eggs. We actually only have two colored eggs, blue and white. That brown is just a pigment laid over the top. But long story short, any color on an egg is theoretically just a pigment is saturated throughout the laying process in the oviduct into the egg. And what happens is at the beginning of a hen's laying cycle, like of her life, and definitely at the beginning of each season every year, that pigment is stronger, so to speak. Think of it like a toner and a printer. And so our egg colors are more saturated. They're darker and brighter and more vibrant. And then as that hen lays throughout the season, towards the end of the season, sometimes those egg colors will often those egg colors will lighten up. We see this in Morans, we see this in leg bars, we see it in Americanas, we see it in silver reds, we see it in colored egg layers across the board. Their egg colors will get lighter throughout the season. There are other things that can affect egg color, things like illness, sometimes diet, but more likely water intake, heat, stress. But again, it's not affecting the overall genetic traits and predisposition for those hens to deposit color into egg. It's just affecting the amount of pigment that's being deposited into an egg at that certain period of time for whatever reason. If all is well with healthy hens, typically what happens is once they come back into spring, after they go through molt, or when they're not laying so frequently, when they're not laying every single day after they've had a break, usually those pigments will darken up again and we'll start to see darker egg colors again until the next end of the season or whenever. So this is just sort of a consumer PSA that this is the time of year where we might just see a little more muted tones and eggs going out to be hatched or coming from our hens. It doesn't necessarily mean you've been bamboozled. It just means it is the time of the year that we're in. And again, I would 1000% suggest that if egg color is your primary concern in your breeding flocks, then ask for pictures, many different pictures of egg colors from the breeding flock, and ask for pictures in multiple different light sources to get an accurate idea of the genetics that you're working with moving forward.